A bombshell lawsuit just dropped claiming that WhatsApp has been lying about encryption for years and can access every single message that you send on WhatsApp. But before we dive in, I need to be crystal clear. This is incredibly early, highly speculative, has some very interesting stuff, and a lot of actually, almost everyone involved is problematic, so it's really hard to figure out who to believe. But there is enough for us to talk about here, so we're going to break down what the lawsuit claims, what we do know regardless of the lawsuit, and how accurate the lawsuit might be. And of course, I'll give my own commentary at the end and give actionable suggestions to all of you. So let's dive into the lawsuit here. A bit of context, this lawsuit was filed by a law firm that is in some way connected with NSO Group. You might be wondering who NSO Group is. NSO Group is this Israeli company, and they literally just build spyware. Their entire business model is building software that hacks into people's devices, and they sell this to governments so that governments can use this technology to hack into journalists' devices or anyone that they want to. It's a really kind of messed up business model, but this is what they are. That's NSO Group. There's a bit of history between WhatsApp and NSO Group because WhatsApp actually sued NSO Group for hacking people on its platform, and they said they can't do that. And so now the NSO Group filed this lawsuit, and let's just get into it. So the juicy stuff ends up on page 15. So if you're not aware, WhatsApp is end-to-end encrypted, which means theoretically only you and the person or people you're talking to should be the only people able to access the message, and WhatsApp is theoretically unable to view that message. Now, what a lot of people don't know is that WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption is actually the same end-to-end encryption, theoretically, that's used by the Signal Messenger, because the Signal Messenger uses the Signal protocol, which is open source, and many people like WhatsApp utilize this. Now, the lawsuit pretty much comes forward and says that the Signal protocol does not protect all user information, nor does it purport to. And it talks about how the contents of the communication are encrypted, and that is all that the protocol is designed to do, but all of the metadata associated with the communication is not. So this means that who's talking to who at what time, and they even use examples here. Alice and Bob message each other 90 times between 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. while Alice is in Seattle and Bob is in Sacramento. All of that information is indisputably available to Meta and WhatsApp. And we'll talk about whether or not that's true shortly. This claim isn't that crazy. The lawsuit also says that Signal itself notably makes its source code available for public inspection to promote both transparency and security, and that they've reviewed it and said that it actually has no backdoor and it's quite safe. But, and here's where the lawsuit gets juicy, under Meta's ownership, WhatsApp does not make its source code available to the public or even to third-party security auditors. The public can only take the word of Meta and WhatsApp that they do not have access to the substance of WhatsApp's users' communications. Meta's and WhatsApp's claim that they do not have access to the substance of WhatsApp users' communications is false. As the whistleblowers here have explained, WhatsApp and Meta store and have unlimited access to WhatsApp encrypted communications, and the process for Meta workers to obtain that access is quite simple. A worker need only send a task, like a request via their internal system, to a Meta engineer with an explanation that they need access to WhatsApp messages for their job. The Meta engineering team will then grant access, often without any scrutiny at all, and the worker's workstation will then have a new window or widget available that can pull up any WhatsApp user's messages based on the user's user ID number, which is unique to a user but identical across all Meta products. That includes Instagram, Facebook, or any other products you use that are tied to Facebook/Meta. And then once they have this access, they can read user messages by opening the widget. No separate decryption step is required. The WhatsApp messages appear in widgets commingled with widgets containing messages from unencrypted sources. Now, I want to be very clear here. These are massive claims that require massive evidence, because what they're saying is that none of WhatsApp's encryption is real, period, and that WhatsApp is completely able to bypass end-to-end encryption, which is alleging that WhatsApp's end-to-end encryption promise is completely made up, fabricated, and has zero grain of truth to it. They cite whistleblowers, but there actually are no cited whistleblowers. They may or may not even be real. Even PC Mag said, courageous whistleblowers, but provides no technical evidence. So all of this is kind of not backed by anything. Meta has responded that this is totally false. WhatsApp can't read messages because the encryption keys are stored on your phone and we don't have access to them. This is a no-merit, headline-seeking lawsuit brought by the very same firm defending NSO after their spyware attacked journalists and government officials. Any claim that people's WhatsApp messages are not encrypted is categorically false and absurd, Meta told PC Mag. WhatsApp has been end-to-end encrypted using the Signal protocol for a decade. This lawsuit is a frivolous work of fiction, and we will pursue sanctions against plaintiffs' counsel. Now, I'll give my thoughts on what I think is happening, but I do want to quickly touch on something that very much is real, which is actually that first section that talks about the metadata concerns of WhatsApp. This is from ProPublica in 2021, and it dives into why WhatsApp already is very problematic for users. WhatsApp has, this is from 2021, has more than 1,000 contract workers filling floors of office buildings in Austin, Texas, Dublin, and Singapore, seated at computers in pods organized by work assignments. These hourly workers use special Facebook software to sift through millions of private messages, images, and videos. They pass judgment on whatever flashes on their screen. The workers have access to only a subset of WhatsApp messages, those flagged by users and automatically forwarded to the company as possibly abusive. The review is one element in a broader monitoring operation in which the company also reviews material that is not encrypted, including data about the sender and their account. So it's already established that if you are in a chat with someone else on WhatsApp and you report someone's account or their messages, some messages are actually sent to WhatsApp in plain text. To compare that to something like Signal, that's just not a thing in Signal. This isn't possible. A lot of end-to-end encrypted messengers that care about security don't really have this issue. Period. Other things that WhatsApp does that are confirmed. WhatsApp shares metadata, unencrypted records that can reveal a lot about a user's activity with a law enforcement agency like the Department of Justice. Some rivals, like Signal, intentionally gather much less metadata to avoid incursions on its users' privacy and thus share far less with law enforcement. And if you don't think that metadata is a big deal, I really like this quote that ProPublica put in there, which is that metadata absolutely tells you everything about somebody's life. Former NSA General Counsel Stuart Baker once said, "If you have enough metadata, you don't really need content." In a symposium at Johns Hopkins University in 2014, the former director of both the CIA and NSA went even further. He said, quote, "We kill people based on metadata." ProPublica found more than a dozen instances in which the Justice Department sought court orders for the platform's metadata since 2017, which means that WhatsApp metadata can help put people in jail. So going back to this, even if WhatsApp's encryption is real, I really want to outline here that they are still collecting and sharing way, way more than their marketing suggests compared to especially their competitors. Now, I also want to take this opportunity to call out like Pavel Durov, who is the person who runs Telegram. He said on Twitter, "You'd have to be brain dead to believe WhatsApp is secure in 2026. When we analyzed how WhatsApp implemented its encryption, we found multiple attack vectors, period." First off, typically what's best practice in the security community is if you find multiple attack vectors, you disclose it to them and ask them to fix it. Or then if they don't fix it after a certain amount of time, you can come forward and report what the vulnerabilities are to the public. He hasn't done any of that. And this is really rich coming from Telegram, who has no end-to-end encryption by default, period. Only secret chats have end-to-end encryption, which means all their users have to opt into using it, and it's not even supported on all devices like desktop devices. On top of that, they don't even use proven protocols for their encryption. They use custom MT proto protocols, which yes, have gotten better over the years, but is still inferior to the Signal protocol in many ways. They also use server-side encryption for groups, which means that Telegram holds the keys to all groups, and there is no end-to-end encryption in any groups on Telegram, and Telegram still has a large amount of the metadata problems that WhatsApp has. Don't worry though, because there's a bigger clown in the room, and his name is Elon Musk, because he says WhatsApp is not secure. Even Signal is questionable. Use XChat. Oh my God. I'm going to start with the community note that the community already corrected Elon on. XChat offers end-to-end encryption but lacks forward secrecy. Key compromise exposes all past messages. Private keys are controlled by X, protected only by a 4-digit PIN. Metadata is collected. Signal provides forward secrecy, device-only keys, and minimal metadata. These are all very good points, and I want to really outline here how I would barely call XChat end-to-end encrypted, given that you are trusting the server significantly every time you have to log in, and it's literally protected by a 4-digit PIN, which means that is it. It's just a 4-digit PIN that anyone can brute force, even if you assume that the server is trusted. Let me be clear, XChat is objectively worse than even WhatsApp on every single technical security metric, but Elon still sees this as an opportunity to market. So I just wanted to call out these two people, Elon and Durov, who are running objectively less secure messaging platforms than even WhatsApp and are using this lawsuit, which may or may not even be real, to attack WhatsApp for marketing purposes. And this is exactly what bad actors do. They take legitimate concerns and exploit them to push their own garbage products, which honestly in 2026, I have no issue calling out. These guys know better, and they know better, and I don't know why people in any way reinforce this behavior. Before I share some more of my thoughts and actionable takeaways for all of you, something that is quite fascinating thing from the WhatsApp group is literally today. They released a new feature. God, I can't make this up. WhatsApp released this new feature called Strict Account Settings. And they say, we think you should be able to have a private conversation online, just like you would in person, and we will defend that right. So now they've released this new feature that's meant for people with more extreme threat models. It will lock to the most restrictive settings. It will limit how your WhatsApp works in some ways, like blocking attachments and media from people not in your contacts. You can enable strict account settings, which is rolling out gradually over the coming weeks by going to Settings, Privacy, and Advanced. All this is doing, and I want to be very clear if you're new to this channel, this reduces the potential attack surface that is used by groups like NSO. This is quite similar to Apple's lockdown mode that I've made a whole video on that you guys can check out if you want to learn more about lockdown mode. But essentially, lockdown mode is going to remove certain features across your apps, across your operating system, so that there's a reduced likelihood that a group like NSO can install spyware on your phone, because typically they abuse certain features and a huge amount of functions that your phone typically does for legitimate things. It exploits those through vulnerabilities to then install whatever it wants to install on your device that's bad for you. WhatsApp probably has some insight into the common attack vectors that are implemented by NSO group to hack WhatsApp users. And so this is a feature that's designed to give those users a little bit more security. And so actually, I don't recommend using WhatsApp, period. I will talk about my actual suggestions in a second here. But if you do have to use WhatsApp for whatever reason, I actually have no reason not to recommend you guys enable this. I'm also a big proponent of using lockdown mode, Google's advanced protection program, and also various security tools like Proton Sentinel if you're in the Proton ecosystem as a way to just get better security across the board. Now, very quick note on this is, I don't know, this is a bit speculative on my end, but I'm going to preface it this way. WhatsApp has known for a long time that NSO Group is hacking WhatsApp users, and my guess is that they've known what they can do to prevent it for a long time, and I do find it a bit unfortunate timing that they're putting this out now in light of the lawsuit where they're probably getting a lot of bad PR. I think WhatsApp could have gotten way ahead of this years ago and done a lot more to protect their users, and then they wouldn't be in this situation in the first place. I'm going to share my thoughts in just a second, but a quick message from our sponsor.
This part of the video is sponsored by PORKBUN. So PORKBUN is a domain registrar. Think of them as where you buy and manage your website domains. But unlike a lot of the big names out there that nickel and dime you for every little feature, PORKBUN just includes everything you need for free. Whois privacy protection, SSL certificates, email forwarding, and that's all included with your domain without any upsells or hidden fees, which I really appreciate. Now here's the thing about owning your own domain. When you use something like henry@gmail.com or henry@protonmail.com, you're tied to that provider because of the @gmail or @proton. But when you own something like henry@yourdomain.com via PORKBUN, you control that identity forever, even if you need to switch email providers entirely, whether it's in 5 years, 10 years, 20, it doesn't matter because you actually get to keep your email. Your contacts don't need to update anything, you don't need to update any accounts, and you're not locked in. Email is federated, and this is how you can actually take advantage of the system. And that's where PORKBUN's partnership with Proton comes in. They've made it stupidly easy to set up Proton Mail with your custom domain so that you can get private encrypted email with an address that you actually own. You've got a dedicated integration page that walks you through all of this, and it all just works. PORKBUN's been recommended by developers for years because the experience is genuinely that good. No nonsense, with fair, transparent pricing, and they're not trying to upsell you for basic web hosting stuff that you don't need. Links for PORKBUN are all in the description. Thank you for sponsoring this part of the video, and now back to the main video.
So the lawsuit, do I believe it? Yes, I believe that WhatsApp gets a ton of access to its users' data. Do I think their encryption isn't real? I think that is a huge, massive claim to make, and until I see more evidence for it, I am going to be on the more skeptical side of that. What I really think this whole fiasco revolves around is, can you trust a closed source platform's privacy claims? WhatsApp is closed source. Yes, they use the open source Signal protocol, but we can't audit how they implement the protocol. We can't audit the code. We can't verify their claims. We can't disprove the lawsuit's claims, right? If these claims are made against Signal, someone could just take the Signal app's source code and look at it and see if it's true. And they can say, actually, it's not true. Here's why. here are the various lines of code, and you need to give us evidence from the code that points to what you're talking about. But WhatsApp being proprietary and closing itself off from third-party audits and also third-party transparency means that people can make claims like this, and WhatsApp doesn't really have a way to defend itself other than saying, y'all are crazy. When we compare this to something like Signal, Signal is an open source client, and they do publish some of their server code as well. They're independently audited. They have minimal metadata collection. They have forward secrecy, and they have device-only encryption keys. With Signal, security researchers can just verify that the encryption actually works. With WhatsApp, we're just supposed to trust Meta, which is a company with really, really bad privacy practices, and they have a long history of abusing user privacy. And this is why I think for something as sensitive as a messenger with encryption, a closed source model is fundamentally problematic for privacy tools. We know that Meta lies. We know they collect extensive metadata. We know they share data with law enforcement. The only question now is whether they can also access message content directly in the way that this lawsuit is proposing. And the fact that we can't know that for certain right now at this point in time is a problem, and why I've never recommended WhatsApp. So what should you do? First off, if you are going to stick on WhatsApp, try to enable the security feature if you care about security and protecting yourself from people like NSO. This isn't a lot of people, but if that is you, then do enable that. Also, definitely utilize WhatsApp's privacy settings. Try to use a different account from your regular Facebook account. Opt out of anything that you can inside of your phone settings. Like I know Apple has the new setting now where you can ask apps not to track you across different applications. Facebook has been known to not listen to that, so that won't get you very far, but it is something in the right direction. Fundamentally, though, you need to move away from WhatsApp. I personally think that Signal is the best middle ground between privacy, security, and usability for the overwhelming majority of people. With that said, Signal is centralized, and it is running on its own servers, which means it isn't as resilient as some other things here on our website's resources. So you can check out our website. These are all open source tools that you can check out. We have other privacy tools that we recommend as well. But Briar is another one. It is Android only. It's Tor routed, but it's far more advanced. And I wouldn't recommend it as typically a WhatsApp alternative. But to be blunt, I've been making videos on this channel now for over 10 years. And to this day, Signal is where I spend 99% of my time. Almost all of my contacts I have on Signal. I think it's the best middle ground, and it is quite familiar to WhatsApp users. It even has stories. It has a lot of the features that you WhatsApp users probably expect to find in a messenger, and actually offer you real privacy while you're at it. So first off, this is still ongoing, right? I'm going to do more coverage if anything else comes out about this, so stay subscribed if you want to learn more. And as we maybe get more technical details, or maybe we don't, and this ends up just being BS all around, but still, I did cover some of the real problems with WhatsApp, regardless of what comes out of this lawsuit. Lesson 2, don't trust marketing promises, trust open, auditable systems. And that includes these bros as well, because they don't follow open and auditable systems either. 4, if you want to get more messenger recommendations and learn more about them, you can check out our website's resources in the description. And 5, stay safe out there, and remember that if you can't audit it, you probably shouldn't trust it, or you know, you're just following trust me bro vibes. I want to thank you all for watching. Make sure to stay safe out there, and whatever messenger you pick, make sure you're going in and utilizing any privacy and security settings available to you. I made a recent commentary video about if dumb phone owners have lost their minds or not, so check that out if you're interested. And also, I want to thank our sponsor PORKBUN, who sponsored a segment of this video. And if you want to support our content, you can become a Techlorian down in the description and keep this content growing for the world to see. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time on Techlore.